I, Anna, 24, am currently 8 months pregnant with a baby girl, and my aunt, cousin, have been giving me trouble since I have announced the news. My partner and I already adore our girl and have no plans to give her up, but my aunt wants me to give up my child to my cousin, who has been suffering from infertility for the past 5 years. For more context, my aunt has raised my sister and I as a motherly figure after our mother passed away when we were very young. We have been quite close with our aunt-cousin throughout our life and have been trying to support my cousin through her struggles with infertility. My aunt is also very religious, being a Mormon, who regularly attends church and has a very rigid, close-minded view on morality and values and living a good life. She believes that a child deserves a strong, foundational religious upbringing with a strong, providing father and a loving, attentive mother. Since my partner is not Christian, and because we both have full-time jobs and careers, she believes that my child will grow up confused and misguided in our household due to our religious differences, lacking a proper sense of identity and adequate care. She says she fears that our child's well-being will not be put first in such an environment, and that our kid could likely go down a dark, immoral path. According to her, my cousin, who works part-time from home, and her husband are way better able to provide my child with a loving home with good values and religion. I have both my aunt and cousin blocked on most forms of communication, and I have moved to a new home where they do not know the address. My partner and I also got married in a private ceremony, so they won't have control over my medical decisions. Out of the two, my aunt has been more aggressive towards me and even showed up to my old apartment one day to scream and argue with me about the situation. She, in a fake nice tone, tried to get me to come with her to a cafe near the church to speak with me about the baby, even when I told her there is nothing to be discussed and that I'm keeping the baby. I spoke with the apartment manager and had to hide until she left after half an hour. My aunt also has her church friends after me. They sometimes regularly send me hostile text messages and voicemails. My cousin has been on the quieter side towards me and has been struggling with depression and trauma from her latest pregnancy last year, ending in a stillbirth of her baby girl after preterm labor at 30 weeks. She has been regularly posting on social media and has joined motherhood-related groups. I've heard through gossip that she is trying to get a baby through those groups and has been banned from a considerable amount of them to her dismay. She had been harassing young moms and widows for their babies. My cousin is desperate for a baby to fix her family and is apparently waiting for Anna to give birth for my baby girl, who she apparently sees her own late baby in. My aunt and her are apparently sure that I will be overwhelmed with my decision and the responsibilities with motherhood that I will give up or give more to my baby by letting my cousin and her husband adopt her. My aunt says that giving my baby to my cousin shouldn't be as hard as it could be, because we are family, and that I could have a baby later on, as I am still young and have plans to attend grad school after working for a while. My cousin also apparently wants to get into contact as we had before my pregnancy. I will not be speaking to her again until after I give birth, to see where she is then and to prevent further stress during my pregnancy. I have been very supportive of her through her infertility journey and generally liked her more than my aunt growing up. But her behavior and thinking have shocked me and are making me fear for my safety. I am planning a big wedding party for next year since my partner and I privately got married this year, and I am not sure if my cousin, aunt would be invited and able to come. I have a lot of family support from both sides right now, apart from those who are close to them and on their side. But I'm not sure if that support will be as strong in a year and what my relationship with my aunt-cousin will be then. I have skipped some family events that I know they will be at, but I don't want to miss out on those family gatherings and fun forever. I'm not sure what the future will look like with my aunt-cousin after my baby and the issues that arise with that. Any support would be appreciated. Some relevant comments. Somebody said, "That's your baby and your baby alone. Get law enforcement involved if you have to. Get restraining orders if you have to. If you ever do talk to your aunt, cousin again, Remind them how there are plenty of other babies in your area that are waiting to be adopted. Best of luck and congratulations. Original poster replied, "Thanks. Regarding adoption, I don't think my cousin would be a great adoptive mother, so I would rather not encourage her on that. Based on what I know, she only wants a baby girl right now, and the baby has to be like her, as known as white, and have whiter features, and must not have any issues. She does not want to deal with or involve the birth mother, and pretty much wants to act like the adoption never happened. Her mentality tells me she is only adopting for selfish reasons and does not want to make the adoption the beautiful thing it can be for everyone involved. Although I am not giving her my baby, I am hypothetically concerned of how she would treat me and try to alienate me from any relationship with the child if I were in that position. Please, whatever you do, do not allow your aunt or your cousin to be anywhere near your child. Don't allow them to hold your child. Do not ever allow them to babysit your child because your child will disappear. If it's possible in the future, maybe consider moving out of that city. Make sure that you have cameras set up around your house, even if they don't know where you live. Now, there's always a chance that they could follow you home from work. Be hyper-vigilant. Congratulations on the soon-to-be birth of your little one." Original poster replied, "My partner and I have moved out of the city and into a new home recently. My aunt, cousin have become aware of this, but don't know the address. I didn't think much of being followed home from work. But since they don't know where I live anymore, they may try something at my workplace. I'll have to talk about this more with my coworkers, boss, and alert them sternly." Original poster replied on the religion and where she stands with her beliefs. "I was raised Mormon, and my aunt has always been pushing the religion and all its components on me and my sister. Now we are both not very religious and do not regularly attend church. I still believe in Jesus, but I am definitely not near what my aunt is and wants me to be in religion. She says she is disappointed with me on that and is using my lack of devotion to say that my baby will be even worse off than me and go down the wrong path if I'm like this with a Mormon upbringing. Update. This will be a small update. We got in contact with the local church leader and talked to them about the situation with my aunt and cousin, who are both active members. We talked to him for a while. He initially dismissed my concerns as personal conflict between family and tried to refer us over to counseling services. We explained to him that my cousin is dealing with trauma from her baby's death and that she is having false hopes about adopting my baby, which would be raised in a good home. We also told him that my aunt is feeding into those hopes and has been harassing me on her behalf, causing disturbance and a lot of stress. He told me he understood my side and that he knew what my cousin has been going through with her inability to have kids. He said he would contact my aunt and cousin to see what they have to say about the situation. I talked again with him today. He said that my aunt and cousin would like to speak with me and that they were concerned that I stopped communicating with them, especially since I moved away. I explained to him that their behavior regarding my baby influenced me to do those things and pressed him on what they said. He said that my cousin had talked with a church therapist and was looking into adoption to start a family because her IVF treatments were likely not going to produce a child with her condition. I emphasized to him that I was not giving up my baby and that my cousin had been thinking such. He said that understood that and started asking me for personal details on how I was doing now. He was again trying to set up a meeting between us and my aunt cousin and referring us to services. I told him I was not comfortable with that at the moment, and he told me to at least call my cousin once. He said he will meet with my aunt on Sunday since I was too scared to do it on my own. Our call ended after that. I'll comment any update on what he says in the coming days under this post. Edit. I am not satisfied with his response and do not like that he is putting pressure on me with reconnect with my aunt and cousin. He says he understands my concerns, but I think he is being rather dismissive of them and trying to force us to resolve our issues. My partner and I thought it was worth a shot reaching out to him because he has influence and religious authority over my aunt cousin. I'll see what he says on the next phone call and see what I can do to make him care more. To make clear, I didn't give him any personal information and have no plans for any in-person meeting with my aunt and cousin. We are in contact with legal help. We do not live in Utah. Relevant comments. Original poster replied on the church leader not believing her and how he is helping her and her husband. That may be why he is trying to refer us over to church counseling. He says he will talk to my aunt and I will just play along and see what they say after that. After this, I'm not sure how helpful involving the stake president will be and if I want to pursue that. Our church leadership has a reputation for focusing on what benefits them and often pivot to that, even if they initially side with you and try to help. My aunt, cousin are rather wealthy, so their tithe is probably worth enough for him to firmly favor them. 100% a trap. Yikes. Plus, the way the church leader dismissed original poster as being too scared was extremely condescending and manipulative. What a scummy way for him to behave. Damn that guy. Original poster replied, "That comment really upset me after I told him everything that was going on and my fears. I'm not just too scared. I fear for the safety and well-being of my family. I fear for the possible escalations, my cousins, aunts' expectations and actions, and more. These fears are real and are very valid given the circumstances." That really bothered me. Somebody asked, "Why are you even risking it? He will get your address and then pass it on to your aunt. They may try to follow you back home after that meeting to know where you live. Possibly find out other details too, like your hospital address, from the church leader, and they can get there with the excuse of checking on you and getting your baby. I've heard of real cases where they took the newborn baby to another state from the hospital itself, so it will be harder for the police to track them down. Please don't associate with them any longer. Not the church, and not your auntie and cousin either. Don't risk your baby being kidnapped. You're the one who will suffer at the end. Trust me, the church won't be able to help you if things go wrong. If it's possible, move somewhere as far as you can for the sake of your baby's safety." Original poster replied, "We talked with him over the phone and have no plans right now for any in-person meetings." Update. We spoke again with the bishop. He said that there isn't much he can personally do to resolve the situation within his capacity between me and my aunt and cousin other than refer to counseling services. I asked him if he did meet with my aunt and he said he did. Their conversation was apparently focused on my cousin and helping her heal. He told me my cousin was also grieving the loss of communication with me and my sister, who hasn't been talking much to her anymore. I told him that my cousin was trying to take my baby to replace hers, and that her and my aunt's behavior was threatening the safety and well-being of me and my family. I think he was losing interest in the conversation, so he just told me to do whatever I feel is best for my family, but to consider the grief my cousin has been through and contact family counseling services for further help on this matter. Me and my partner sent him an email afterwards with a copy to our lawyer to close off communication. I decided to unblock my cousin and send her a message. I told her that my partner and I are keeping our baby, and that is not up for discussion. I encouraged her to seek proper therapy if she hasn't already done so, and told her that I am not comfortable with her husband, or my aunt being involved in my child's life. She hasn't responded yet. Regardless of what she says, our relationship will not return to as it was before, and she will not be a part of my child's life. Update 5 months later. Here is the update everyone has been waiting for. I was busy in the last few months with the birth and projects I've been working on as I recover from birth and take care of my new baby. I logged into Reddit a few times since then, but haven't gotten a chance to update. I am 25 now, and my baby is almost 4 months old. Time flies. She's doing well and brings us so much joy. I love going on walks with her, and she's growing up so fast. I am planning to go back to work soon, looking for a new job. Thank you all for the concern and well wishes, and I hope everyone is having a great time during the Thanksgiving holiday season. Now, the update that everyone is looking forward to. My cousin and aunt. Since my last update, my cousin and aunt went silent for a while, and my cousin didn't respond to my texts. In August, my aunt reached out to me through a new number and asked me how I was, and if I had the baby yet. We talked. She was concerned about my baby's well-being since I distanced myself from a lot of my family and had to leave my job. I asked about my cousin. She says they have been trying to adopt a baby through their church connections, but nothing has been successful so far, because they probably just started on that. I asked about whether they consulted with a proper adoption agency, but my aunt said that my cousin's husband's past may become a problem, didn't know about that, and she proceeded to rant about how the white birth rate is dropping and how people were actively denying themselves parenthood. She asked me if I still wanted the baby and got angry about ninth-month abortions. She is pro-life, flatto exceptions. I reaffirmed to her that I did, and she talked about how my cousin was getting old, but she is in her early 30s and that her nest is still empty. She wanted me to at least share the joy and let my cousin be in my daughter's life and spend time with her. I told that would not be possible due to their past behavior. I fear that my cousin would try to become her mother and let her delusions get to her again. My aunt said that my cousin was trying to become better and got some church counseling. I still told her no. She then asked me if I knew anyone or any resources to adopt a baby. I told her I didn't, and that my cousin and her husband should be careful and patient with trying to become parents. My aunt emphasized how becoming parents was important to my cousin and her husband because they deserved children at this point, and for their reputation since everyone around them is reaching the parenthood milestone. She asked about my future family plans and pushed me on when I am going to get pregnant again, have my next child. She told me family planning was important, especially after this surprise pregnancy, and asked if they could be involved next time. As the call went on, more and more of her past and usual behavior became apparent, and I was getting tired of it. I wanted to end the call, but she ended it first because she had some activity. Thankfully, I have my sister to keep me in the loop with what's happening with my aunt, cousin, and other matters regarding my family and my old church. Everything my aunt said was apparently true about my cousin. According to my sister, my cousin's overall mental health seems to have improved from her worst, but she still has her deep depressive periods. She sometimes feels very empty with her lack of children and her worsened relationships with me and my sister. My cousin and her husband are also trying to find an IVF doctor abroad in hopes of a miracle, since a lot of their options are shutting down here. My cousin apparently still views my baby as something she lost, but she believes God will give her kids soon and has been trying to get her sins forgiven. We are skipping Thanksgiving with my side of the family in a few days for obvious reasons. I'm going back to the workforce soon, likely after all the holidays. I have my childcare arrangements ready with all the necessary precautions, and the future's looking good overall. Again, thank you all for your support, and let me know if you have any questions about anything. Mormonism, my family, motherhood, etc. Some relevant comments. Commenter 1. I really wonder if your aunt feels that she also deserves the baby to be a grandmother. A lot of those types feel that they are owed grandchildren. Good for you shutting down the idea of your baby having any sort of relationship with your cousin. You are being an amazing mom by protecting your baby girl. Keep boundaries and keep your little one snuggled close. Original poster replied, perhaps so. My aunt has said that she is ready for the grandma life and has been heavily invested with my cousin and her starting a family. When we were younger, my aunt also said that she would be a grandma to my sister's future kids since we lost our mother very young. I guess she doesn't have that enthusiasm anymore. And thank you. Commenter 2. The part about your cousin not being able to go through a proper adoption agency because of her cousin's husband's past may become a problem raised all the red flags. Aside from her infertility, your cousin's choice in a partner sealed their fate. Is she willing to recognize that rather than demonizing you? Best wishes to you and your wee one. Original poster replied, my cousin and her husband are very religious and all about forgiving people for their sins. I think she probably forgives him for his troublesome youth. Yet, she was nasty to me when I was pregnant and wanted to raise my kid. They are going through their church connections to see if anyone is planning to adopt their baby and other means, Apparently, it hasn't worked out so far, so now they want to do IVF again with a doctor abroad. Somebody asked, "Do you know anything about the cousin's husband's background?" Original poster replied, "I'm not sure exactly what he did since I just found this out, but my aunt said he was not around good people when he was younger. I'll need to look into that." And yeah, both my aunt and cousin only want a healthy, white baby. They will not settle for anything else. They don't want an older kid because of the kid's past and baggage. They don't want to adopt a non-white child because they are investing in their own family first. Means that they want a normal, white family before trying to save others. Original poster explains how religious people don't view infertility as a part of God's plan, and if the cousin and her family is against IVF and adoptions. In the case of my family, they do believe it is in God's plan for my cousin to have children at the right time, and that her infertility is a test she must endure for motherhood. They have been grasping onto any signs that God is leaving for them. My cousin has always wanted to adopt, or at least she has been saying for a while. They don't mind IVF, despite how pro-life they say they are, because it's one of the only options they have for the chance of starting a family at this point. IVF worked before, but the baby came very prematurely and passed away right after. They want to go abroad for IVF now, because they heard about how there are good and flexible doctors from someone. They think it's in God's plan for them to struggle a bit to start a family, and that it will make their family stronger.